That podcast I was telling you about with Wesley Huff and Fragrant, the comedians. But anyways, they ask him about hell, and he's like, I didn't listen to but a few minutes of what his response was, but his was some stupid Christian apologetic response that hell is not a physical place, a literal place. Hell is separation from God. And it's just like, this guy claims to be a biblical scholar, and you get that wrong. That's pretty straightforward. And just put up the verse on when David's talking about, if I go to heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, thou art there. Yeah. So how do you deal with that verse if that's not separation from God? Also talks about in Revelation 14:10 where it says that all the people in hell are, and this is paraphrasing, but are going to burn in the presence of the Lamb and his holy angels. So, like, how is that? God's not only sending you to hell, you're going to burn in his presence. Like, it's not separation. There's no separation. And then they like to say that hell's not a literal place, but Jesus refers to this place that the worm dieth not, the fire's never quenched. It's better to cut your arm off than to go to hell with two arms. And there was 4 or 5 verses in a row that just dealt with this, that hell is a literal physical place. Why would Jesus say what he's saying if it's separation from him? It doesn't make any sense. And then that made me lead to this next thought in my mind that, God created everything, right? And he said it was good. So if he created the whole world, everything, and it's good, then God created hell and it's good. So that really will mess with people, and then people will write me about that. But it's like, well, it is good. It serves its purpose. Its purpose is punishment for rejecting his son for the gift that he paid for anybody here on this earth. That it might not be a good place in our mind because of the punishment, but it's justified in the sense of all you had to do was believe on his name, that what he did was enough to keep you from that punishment. So it is good. It's not us and our ways and the way that we think about things. It's about how God views things. And that's what somebody wrote me, so you think it's good for the enemies of God to suffer eternal punishment. And it's like, it's not what I think. Right. It doesn't matter what I think. My ways are not God's ways. God's ways are justified in all that he does. So hell must be a justifiable punishment and a justifiable place for you to go if you reject him. So it's good.
And was this the same guy that was saying that God doesn't want people in heaven if they don't want to be there? Same podcast you're telling me?
Yeah, but he was quoting C.S. Lewis, which I know he's got a bunch of weird. Yeah. He's the one that wrote Narnia and all that. He's got weird views, but yeah he was saying something on the lines of that God isn't going to force anybody into heaven, that it's a free eternal gift that you have to accept. You have to want to be with God in heaven or accept his gift. He's not making people get saved. He's not making people join him in heaven. It's a choice that you willingly are accepting and wanting his salvation.
What do you think about that? I mean, it makes sense, that part.
I mean, that makes sense in the sense of you have to call upon his name. He doesn't pick and choose. That's where the Jews get it wrong. The Jews think that they're God's chosen people because of their race, that they will go to heaven. But that's not how it works. It isn't based on just being born into a particular people group.
Because he's not a respecter.
It's based off of just accepting that Jesus paid it all to him we owe, and that he's enough. Once again, not based on what we do or don't do in this life. It's based on what he did.
Yeah. Thanks. I think your phone was ringing again.